Welcome to Imperfect Together. We are back for episode 4, I think.
Yep,
season
4.
2. I don't know. I'm Chris. This is Zach.
I'm Zach.
And we are welcomed by MaryBelle today.
MaryBelle.
Hey, guys.
Castagno.
Castagno. But you were close.
Castagno.
Maybe we just get better each year.
What grade are you in, MaryBelle?
I'm in 9th grade, but I'm a freshman.
It's the same thing.
Okay, I didn't know. I was like, yeah, I'm a freshman
I'm
at
pretty sure
Southside.
that's universal across the world.
Okay, I'm freshman at Southside.
There you go.
Southside. All right.
All right. Well, MaryBelle, we brought you in today because you probably know more about this subject than we do, which is
Nope.
we're gonna have a conversation about Justin Bieber.
Bieber fever.
Bieber. Are you a believer?
Are you a believer?
Yeah.
You are.
I like Bieber.
Give me his past. What has he? From when did you start liking him?
At 5 years old.
When you were 5 years old?
Probably like 4 years old.
How long? When did he start?
He started when he was like 13.
I know that, but I don't know how y'all even.
2011. Wait, no.
No. 2010 maybe?
Yeah, 2010-ish.
I know he got found on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I thought he was found like at Disney. Is that not right?
No.
I don't know.
No, he got found on YouTube, and then he was like, because he's from Ontario, so he started singing
Yeah.
out front of some building or something, and this guy, what was the guy's name? Whatever, some guy, some producer found him. No, it wasn't Ludacris. I don't remember the guy's name, but he went to where he was to see him like live performing, like a street performer.
Gotcha.
What made you think Disney?
I know.
No, it's like because like you have Justin Timberlake, you have Britney Spears.
Justin Timberlake was
Christina
never found
Aguilera.
at Disney.
Yes, he was.
They were all part of Mickey
Justin
Mouse
Timberlake.
Clubhouse.
Yeah,
stuff.
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
So
it was
you're
an old show, like him and Britney Spears.
Like,
All
Justin
them were,
Timberlake,
like when they were kids.
Justin Bieber, is that how you thought of it?
Well, I just thought Justin Bieber, like
I'm pretty
Selena
sure.
Gomez, I think was Disney.
Oh, yeah,
right?
she was. She was
And,
in
like,
Wizard
I thought
Waverly
you
And
meant
the
like
Jonas.
he was noticed singing at Disney
that's what
World.
I
The
thought.
Jonas World, the Jonas
He was
Brothers,
playing,
I believe, were Disney World.
Jiminy Cricket.
The Jonas Brothers were also Disney.
No, like, I thought you meant he was,
yeah,
found at Disney World. Like, this random girl came up to him.
Yeah, but they all started in shows.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
just thought Justin Bieber started in shows.
No,
No.
his mom put a
Like
video.
Miley Cyrus is another one.
His mom
Hannah
put a
Montana?
video on YouTube, and whoever this guy is, I forgot his name. He clicked on it by accident because he was looking for artists, and clicked on it by accident, and then liked him, and then started stalking him and
Oh.
found him. Like, and then it happened immediately. Like it all started quick.
So
Yeah,
kind of
but
like
then
with TikTok. Like, people
Yeah.
that get famous over TikTok.
Well, he
Pretty
wasn't.
much.
Well, he wasn't there wasn't TikTok around there.
I know, but, like, he got famous just
Yeah.
like that, so...
Yeah, and then
just
he did
like-
Baby
So what
Baby. He grew up. He got bigger.
I heard that you had a cardboard cutout of Bieber.
I did have a cardboard cutout.
Do you still have it?
No.
Where
Are
did
you
it
sure? Or
No,
is it
I
like,
don't.
Is it like folded up under the bed?
No, okay, so I've moved. My family was like, oh yeah, we're never gonna move houses. And then, like, all of a sudden we just moved.
You lost Bieber in the move?
Yeah, Bieber in the move. I was addicted to him, like, cardboard cutout, like,
Why?
probably
was your-
kissed
what-
him
what's
on
your-
the cutout. Definitely
What
kissed
made?
him.
What,
Like, hugged him.
Is how you practice?
Yeah. Like, was addicted to Justin Bieber.
Is that a real thing? Do people practice on cardboard cutouts?
I mean, she did. It's a little weird.
I gotta say, I've never heard that before.
You know, some people tell me that they practice on pillows. Like, I've heard that before.
All right, let's go back to Bieber. Oh my God.
Switch that topic. we're not talking about sex again.
Just kissing. Just kissing.
Just
But yeah, so yeah, he was a little guy. He then did his pop music, and then he got bigger. How many relationships was Justin Bieber in?
I would say at least 20.
20. But now he's married to
Haley.
what? Haley, who's Alec
A model.
Baldwin's.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
and they've been married for what?
I knew he
10
was
years
married.
Haley and Bieber? No, they've been like, I think they just had their 1 year anniversary.
now? Oh,
Yeah, it's been.
But they've been
it's
Yeah,
together
recent.
I saw it on Instagram. They had like their 1 year anniversary,
Okay.
like just a few days ago.
yeah, and then yeah, and then he kind of had a bad spout, just like how most pop people did. Like Britney Spears had the, bald head and all that stuff. Well, there's probably more to that. I probably shouldn't. People will get offended when I say Britney Spears and bald head together. But yeah, Justin Bieber, he was acting up. I know that he did some stuff. I know that he dressed wrong in the ESPYs one time, and everyone was like, I can't believe Justin Bieber dressed up like that. And Justin Bieber was like, man, I don't care about your dress code.
I don't know.
What else did he do that was bad?
He did get
he got arrested.
He got like a DUI.
Yeah, and all that stuff. But then all of a sudden there was a switch.
Yeah.
And that switch was he found God. He wound up being a member in Hillsong in New York, which that was pretty crazy. And I think he still attends Hillsong, but I think it's in Seattle that he attends with his.
I don't know. I know that he, so Judah Smith, which is a pastor out in Seattle at Church Home, I think it's in Seattle, somewhere out there. He was a big influence on. I was reading an article about him. I think it was in GQ. About kind of his whole story and the transformation, and basically he in the article he talks about how Haley and God are the two things that helped him turn around.
Yeah. It was for a second though, some of the stuff that he was doing before that, it was like oof, and then God, he completely switched.
Well, I mean, imagine your entire life you're being you really have no control over your life. Yeah. You're being told what to do.
You
never got to be a kid, and you just don't know how. You don't know how to handle things because you were never really taught. He was just thrown into it.
Yeah, some of the things that he said. He put this on his Instagram. My advice is to steer clear of religion, but put your hope in the eternal one who died on an excruciating death so that you and I could truly live on for eternity. This is that I believe and has brought me extraordinary peace through the pains of the broken planet. Which I was like, man, that's cool, but this is the reason why I bring this up. And this is a question I'm going to bring to you guys. Why do Christians have a hard time accepting someone that has changed their life? Whenever Bieber did this, and we could say the same thing with Kanye West and all these other things, whenever someone decides to change their life, they don't do this to Denzel Washington because he's always been a Christian or whatever, and he's always stand for. But we're talking about people that were so far away.
Went from one extreme to another.
Yeah, to another extreme. And we'll put Kanye in that, we'll put Justin Bieber in that have changed their life, but we hear it, and I hear it all the time, which is, we'll see what the next album or song will be, or sometimes we listen to the song or album and we'll nitpick at every little detail of that album, especially Kanye's. The Blue album, whenever that one came out, I know Christians that were nitpicking every little thing. And he was a new Christian. He was a brand new Christian. And he was excited about this new life that was in him. And people were just like, oh, well, we'll see what the next album is. We'll do this. And I've also heard a few say that they don't have the right to sing or write that song, that they don't know what they're talking about. And I've heard that before. And it's just like, you guys are getting it wrong. That's not. So why do we do that? Why do we, kind of put a front up? I'm not saying that we as us three do
generalizing.
But generalizing as Christians, why do we do that? For instance, MaryBelle, I'm going to throw... Okay. I know I'm throwing a whole bunch of questions here. But let's say you have this kid.
Yeah.
You have this kid that, he's either... This girl is either a new Christian or has been a Christian for a few years. All right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But, you see her on Wednesday. you know that previous weekend that person partied and, you know, probably had a few drinks and all this stuff and not good stuff. How do you respond to that?
I mean, like, I don't know. It's hard to be like, well, I don't want to respond in like because you are a Christian, like, you shouldn't judge them. But then, like, also at the same time, like, I also think, well, I feel like if I did that, I would get judged by, like, some other Christian.
So do you feel like you should judge those people?
No, you shouldn't. But, like, yeah, there's times where I'm like, yeah, I'd probably judge those people. But no, you shouldn't.
What about the people that are new Christians and they're still trying to figure it out and they're still, like, so you have a kid that's a new Christian.
Yeah.
Trying to walk with God, but last weekend they messed up.
Well, we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
So it's just like you shouldn't judge them because, like, we're all gonna, like, God puts you into, what I've had to realize is God will put you into temptations, and it's great if you make it out of that where you, like, don't do it, but then also you're gonna fall into some. So it's like, well, okay, you made a mistake, or, like, you did that. No big deal. Just, like, move on.
Yeah. Why do we judge? Why do we judge in those, like with Justin Bieber and like Kanye, why do we judge whenever, you know, they make another album or something like that? And I could see where they're coming at biblically, but sometimes it's kind of off. But we tend to criticize. Why do we do that?
I think it's just because, like, we're, especially people that have been Christians for a long time, they are like, oh, well, you know, like, we do this and you're doing that, and that's two totally different things. This is the right way, this is the wrong way. But there really is, I mean, yes, there is right and wrong in Christianity, but you shouldn't be judging. Because, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think most people, if you really get down to the root of it, is they're deflecting from themselves. Mm-hmm. And here's the deal. I am 37.
You don't know your age?
I had to think for a second. As you get older, you forget.
Hold on.
I'm 37.
No, I'm not 37.
What year were you born?
1984.
Okay.
I'm 37. I know I'm correct, MaryBelle.
Okay.
But I got saved. I started following Jesus when I was 10 or 11. So that is how many years ago? 27, 26
about like
years
20
ago.
Years.
And I still don't have it all figured out.
Yeah.
Right? And we, as people, I mean, we are humans, we're broken people, and we expect somebody, Kanye, Justin, whoever, to automatically just overnight be perfect. No, that's not how it works. Right? I'm still going to mess up. It's a whole lifelong process. Nobody's going to be perfect. That's part of our nature of who we are. But the problem is because you know, Karen over there, Christian Karen, she's not perfect. She knows it, but she wants to put blame on somebody else to get the view off of herself. Right? And we want to criticize other people instead of dealing with our own junk. Right? And I think that's part of the problem of what gives Christianity a bad name is when we start thinking that we're better than somebody else, because we're not. None of us are. We were having a conversation Sunday night with our home group. I mean, it wasn't specifically about this, but the whole idea of, you know, a lot of times we feel like it's our job as Christians to convert people, and we have to tell them all this stuff and whatever, and it's our responsibility to get them saved. Well, that's not true. Yeah. It's my responsibility to speak truth, and then how you respond to that is up to you. Mm-hmm. It is not my job to make sure that MaryBelle gets saved, and I'm just going to keep shoving Jesus down her throat until she listens to me.
Yeah.
No, that's all that's going to do is push you away. But we can have respectful conversations. I can share with you my opinion, and that is what God calls me to do, is to share truth, and then let Him do the work in changing people. And if Christians will get more behind that and just realizing, hey, you just focus on you and making the right decisions and being good for you, and then you just be a good example to other people, and then let them figure out their process and their journey. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, because then they're gonna see
change things a whole lot, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because then they'll see like how y'all say this both a lot. Then they'll see like how you're different, and then hopefully they would once come up to you and be like, hey, like, here's something going on with you, like what's different about you or something. So
there's stories everywhere in the Bible where people have doubted other people's faith. You have Matthew, the tax collectors, and the other disciples. You have Moses and the people from Egypt after he's told them multiple times, yada, 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 do this, and then God performs all these miracles for Moses. They finally get out of Egypt, and they're still doubting Moses, and so there's that, and then, but the one that I want to talk about the most, and it's actually when Silas, who is it? No, I'm thinking that's not Silas. It's not Silas. I'm thinking of.
He is a Bible character,
I'm thinking Paul.
Saul and Paul.
Paul and Saul.
Saul who became Paul.
Saul who became Paul. I don't know why I said Silas, but yeah, Saul who became Paul, and how and
that was a extreme. That goes back to the extreme.
Very extreme. Yeah.
Should here? Do you know the story?
Yeah, I know. Like,
give us a brief overview in case somebody who's listening is like, who the heck are y'all talking about?
Okay, well, I'll try. Okay, so doesn't I think I learned about this the other day in history.
Right,
so Saul.
Not Silas.
Not Silas. He was like, I want to say he was not I don't want to say he was a bad person, but he was a
terrible person.
He was okay.
Well, he was actually an extremely religious person.
Yeah, and he didn't like the rules of stuff how it was going on. So wouldn't he kill people?
He would kill Christians.
He would kill Christians.
But why?
And then because he didn't like the way they were doing it.
So he was actually. He was a Pharisee. He was a Jew of all Jews. He was in the right tribe. He had all the credentials to be of God's people. And when Jesus came on the scene and said, "No, I'm the Messiah," all Saul followed was the Old Testament law, right? And so he's like, "Dude, this guy starting this new religion. That's not what Moses said." Even though it really is. And that's why he started killing Christians. He was trying to kill the Christian movement.
Yeah.
And kill everybody. That's why it was. So he did it all out of religion, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what changed?
And then his life changed.
Well, how did he change?
Did he appear in a dream? Didn't he have a dream?
I had a dream.
No, seriously, how God comes to people in dreams?
It wasn't a dream.
And then someone came up to him.
A flash of light.
Came up to him.
God. Oh yeah. wasn't he in the desert? And then maybe not. Whatever.
He was actually on his way to kill people.
Yeah. He was on the He was on the way to kill people. Sadie Robertson was talking about this. This is
now she remembers. I've only told you the story how many times.
And then there was a big light, and God appeared to him. Yeah, Jesus appeared to him and said,
What did he say to him?
Said, Saul, why are you persecuting my people?
Saul, why are you persecuting my people?
Just like that.
He'd be like, bro, why are you persecuting my people?
Be on my side, yo.
Yeah, and then he switched his name to Paul.
Yeah, and then he became a Christian.
Yeah.
And then he started spreading the word of
Jesus.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And he actually went to Jerusalem. And he met with Peter and who was the other one? Peter and I don't want to say John.
James. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Either way.
Either way,
people treated him the same way because they thought it was all a trick. They thought he was So he was blinded, and then he had to go to, I think it was Ananias' house. And so God had to speak to Ananias and say, look, this isn't a trick. I'm really changing his life, and you're going to pray for him, and he's going to be able to see again. And then, but later on, Peter and some other guys had to vouch for Paul because God said, you're not going to be Saul anymore, you're going to be Paul. They had to vouch for him because they all thought, dude, he's just trying to trick us and then he's going to kill us all.
Yeah, all the Christians were scared, terrified because of him.
Which I could see that because, like,
yeah.
You
I
persecuted all these.
Think, though.
I would probably think
it's a great plan if you're actually trying to kill Christians. I'll just act like I'm one of them.
But then, and he was in the wilderness at one point for like 7 years, right? Paul was. He was in the wilderness for.
I don't remember that.
I think so. I don't know.
I think so. When he was blind, I could be.
No,
for 7. I don't think for 7 years.
He was blind that long.
I must be thinking of him.
It was just like till he got to the town. He was blind for like 3 days.
Oh, all right. But anyways, James put this in
7 years.
James put this in scripture, and James is one of the guys that, James was, I believe, Jesus' brother, and he was also, whenever Paul decided to be a Christian, James and Peter was one of the first initial disciples to kind of, I think those were the only disciples that he talked to. I think all the other ones died, right? Could be. I don't know. I don't know theology.
I don't know where you're going with this. So.
But anyways, James says this in 1:6. It says, "But let him ask in faith with no doubt, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind." So what is James saying in that statement?
You're going to have to repeat it.
"But let him ask in faith with no doubt, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind."
Like when, this is how I would say it was. But like so let's say you have 2 Christians and you're doubting like another Christian. And that's not the way you should think. So, didn't it say pray? Pray for those.
What is doubting?
Doubting is when you think of like something, doubting. I don't know. Like when you think less of something.
Right now.
Yeah. When you think like less of something like, oh, I can't do that. Like you're doubting yourself, like something you really can't do, or you're doubting another person like, oh, they'll never live up to those expectations.
So whenever he relates that is like waves of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind.
Yeah.
So what does he mean by that? So we know what doubting is. So he's talking about waves in the sea that is driven. So let's think of a sea.
Yeah.
Let's think of an ocean here. All right. And then let's say the ocean's calm, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens when the wind hits it?
It waves.
There's waves. There's chaos, you would say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Chaos. Yep.
Yeah. So what I believe James is saying in here is, when we doubt,
there's chaos.
There's chaos.
Yeah.
We start thinking things that aren't right or inaccurate about someone when we don't really know.
You never know what someone's going to do.
That's fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think context is important.
Yeah.
In this case, because I was like, I wanted to look it up. So the context of this is he's talking about when you face trials, right? So he says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers, when you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance, and perseverance must finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask for it, he should ask God, who gives generously without finding fault, and it will be given to him." Then it goes into what you're saying. So, but when he asks, he must believe and not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. So I think a lot of what that's saying is, like when you're facing stuff, like you can trust God that he's going to be there with you, or that he's going to give you, if you ask for wisdom, he's going to give you wisdom. If you're facing temptations and trials and things in life, because life is just hard sometimes, like he's going to be there, and you have to trust that God's going to help you through that. Because when you don't, man, that's when you don't really believe in something, it's easy for anybody to convince you otherwise, right?
Yeah.
It's easy for, let's say we were having an argument on the color of a backpack, right? And you're colorblind, you don't know. We can easily convince you that that's green or that's red or whatever, and you don't have a clue because you're colorblind. You're not really colorblind, I don't think, but the point being is like when you doubt your faith, when you doubt what God has taught you through His Word, then it's easy for other people to manipulate you or to tell you things that aren't true. There's a lot of that in the Bible there's a lot of that these days. That's why there's so many different kind of churches, because of misinterpretations of the Bible, or, this is what I think it means. Well, this is what I think it means. And that's why it's important to study for yourself and to get with other people and believers to know what truth is.
There's a scripture that Paul says, it's like 2 Corinthians 5:7, and says, read 5:7.
Well, I gotta find it first.
It's for we walk by faith, not what we see. It's something like that.
Walk by faith, not by sight.
Yeah. Walk by faith.
Let's see if you're right here. Oh, we live by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7.
So close.
That's pretty good.
See, you don't need to go to college. You don't need to go to college right there.
Yeah.
Or was that?
That's why we're talking about Silas.
But,
yeah.
But when you were talking about that, you were talking about so when he says that, so that's Paul writing in Corinthians, for we walk by faith, not by sight. What is he saying when he says that?
I think it means to, instead of like realizing what people are doing and stuff, that remember what God has like taught you, and like walk by your faith, like walk by scripture, what He has told you, instead of seeing like all like the negatives or just what people are saying about you, because God knows the best things about you and stuff.
Yeah.
I think too, and I'll tie this back into Bieber and Kanye, like we were talking about earlier. We are a people who always have to see it to believe it.
Yep.
Right? If I'm gonna believe Jesus is real, then He needs to come down and show Himself to me and whatever. And what He's talking about, walk by faith and not by sight, is look, seeing isn't always believing. Mm-hmm. You can look at history, you can read through the Bible, you can experience God in a lot of different ways without seeing Him or seeing what's gonna happen in life. And so you have to learn to trust that that's true, and trust and live your life knowing that, okay, this is truth. I haven't experienced all of it, but I believe what it says, instead of just constantly what I see. And when it goes back to, we go back to talking about Bieber and Kanye, or new believers, or people who've gone from one extreme to the other, like we've got to be people who quit worrying so much about everybody else, and instead be there to support them and help them grow in their faith, knowing that they're going to screw up, right? Mm-hmm. Our job as believers is not to criticize or wait for them to screw up just because they're famous, or we're just going to wait and see what happens with them, but they're doing this just for money or whatever. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, my job is to love you. That's why God says, love people. Mm-hmm. Love God, love people. And my job is to help bring you forward. So, and whether they do that or not is up to them. Mm-hmm. But I have to love people no matter what. And the more we can start doing stuff like that and supporting people, and then leaving the choices up to them, I mean, Christianity is going to go a whole lot better, and people are going to receive it more because they're being treated well and being respected, instead of feeling judged all the time. Instead of us constantly waiting until somebody's going to fall, we're going to be there to support them and help them through the way. I mean, and that's why, you look at Bieber, he had Chance the Rapper, he had Judah Smith, he had Carl Lentz, he had all these different people in his life that helped him get to that point to where he is now. Mm-hmm. And who am I to judge where he is spiritually? Yeah. It's a growth process. To me, from the little I know about him, I would say I'd be proud of him and the change that he's been able to make. And I hope that he continue to have people in his life to help him move forward.
His style choices are a little off, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a dishwasher at a Ruby Tuesday.
Hey, but
Yeah.
listen, there's still a lot of areas where he's rough around the edges, but that's okay. Like, it's a process.
Yeah, I feel like we all make mistakes, so.
But I mean,
Yeah.
he does look cool doing it though. He looks like a cool dishwasher from Ruby Tuesday.
Okay.
And his wife beaters.
If he's got a shirt on at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey.
But yeah, so with all that being said, love others with absolutely no doubt, no judgmentalness. When we do that, it's our sin coming out. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's our sin when we are judging, when we're doubting, when God talks about the fruit of the Spirit, doubting and judging is not on that list. But
Yeah.
it's loving. It's joy.
And I'll say this, because I know somebody's probably thinking this. When it comes to believers, let's say no, not believers, just believers in general.
Believers.
Followers of Jesus.
Followers of Christ.
That does not mean that I shouldn't still try to hold you accountable when you do screw up.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of us would call that judging, and depending on how you choose to do that, could be very judgmental. But I still have a responsibility to help you grow in your faith. And so if Zach, we're friends and I see you screw up, it's okay for me to address that with you.
Yeah.
Say, hey, buddy, that probably wasn't your best decision, but I need to do that out of love, not out of judgment. I'm like, God dang it, Zach, you screwed up again. God, you're worthless at this Jesus thing. Because that matters. Like, how you approach that matters. And so I don't want you to, I don't want somebody thinking like, oh, well, you should never, if MaryBelle screws up, we shouldn't say anything to her because we're going to be judging her.
Yeah.
That's not true. Now, if it's an unbeliever, then they don't know any different.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not my job to say anything there, but does that make sense?
Yeah,
There's a balance there.
Yeah, it's so hard when you're saying believer, because it's like, I'm like,
believer.
I do have a question.
Beaver.
Is he talking about Bieber or is he talking about Jesus?
Hey,
All right,
I
your
like
last
Bieber. He's
question,
got good
and then
music.
we gotta go.
Okay. Do you think when someone messes up and you confront them about it, would you take it to, well, Jesus still loves you? Like, would you say that?
Listen, I am not all about the Christianese and being all cheesy and stuff. To me, it's I'm just gonna, I want to talk to you as a friend, and I want to lovingly say, hey, I noticed that this is happening. There's something going on that I can help with. Or, trying to look at, okay, is there something going on behind the scenes that caused you to act this way?
Yeah, like, are you going through something?
And I'm looking out for your concern, not just as Christians don't do that, but Jesus loves you still. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's not who I am. I just want to love you. I want to be there for you to help you. If you get mad at me, because that happens too. If I say something and you get mad at me, I'm not gonna take offense with it. I'm gonna usually there's other reasons on why we do what we do, right? And so to me, it's more of a, how can I help get behind the scenes and understand the reason why, and help you grow. And once again, back to what I said earlier, my job is just to share truth.
Yeah.
Not to change you, not to force things down your throat, but just to be there for you. And then, if you're not always going to be ready to accept it in that moment, right? We know how this goes sometimes.
Yep.
You call people out on something, even if it's in love, they get mad, take offense from it. You're not friends for a month, and then all of a sudden something changes and they realize, oh, you were just trying to help me.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And that's where us continuing just to be there for them and love them and not judge and supporting them, that's where that comes in. So that in time, when you are ready, you realize that, oh, you were still there for me the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that does.
All right, guys. So, just find ways to love your neighbors well. Bottom line.
It's not hard.
Not hard.
It is kind of, but.
All right, guys. Like the comments from the above. Subscribe.
Comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe. There you go, MaryBelle. That's
We should have MaryBelle just for that part right there.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Comment, and subscribe on our YouTube video.
Button.
Yeah, smash that
Smash that
Why
like
do
button.
they say smash it? I don't understand.
Smash
I
it.
get it, but
yeah.
can't smash
and so we'll see you
Smash
next
your
week.
Break my phones.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.